This Vanessa got me looking orange, girl. We gonna fix it. Don't you guys worry. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. My name is Candice and this is Everything Beauty with Candice B. So we are closing out Black History Month with a full face of Black owned products. Now I tried to do an everyday like makeup look, but this quickly turned into a natural glam look. So you guys will see in the video I'm talking about everyday, and then it just goes downhill from there into natural glam. Everything I used on my face today is by a Black owned makeup brand. I used as many brands as I could. So if y'all want to see how I got to this face, let's go. My skin is already prepped and ready for makeup. So I'm going to be starting with my eyebrows. So I'm using the Juvia's Place Eye Sculpt eyebrow pencil. I'm using the shade dark brown, and I'm just going to start filling in my eyebrows, just underlining the bottom brow, and then starting like right here, outlining the top brow, and then I color it in with the pencil and then brush up, and that's how I do my eyebrows for now. Now it's time to clean up my brows. So I'm using my Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Concealer. I'm using the shade 385. And then just using this little flat brush, take some off of the brush and just clean up around or clean up under my eyebrows so that they look nice and sharp. And then we can get into doing my eyeshadow. To cover up the rest of my lids, I'm going to use something that's closer to my skin tone. So I'm going to use the Beauty Bakerie Insta Bake Concealer. I'm using the shade 006 Sugar Daddy. And I'm just going to spread this all over my eyelids and then blend it out so we can put on some eyeshadow. I typically don't use like a primer on my lids. I love using concealer as my primer. It just works out so nice. And like one less step on your eyes. For my sponge, this is from DSMD Shop. This is also a Black owned brand, and it's time for another sponge. This one is so raggedy, but I love this sponge. These are one of the best sponges. They're so soft. Once you wet them, they expand out so good. Well, now I'm just gonna tap and blend out that concealer on my eyelids, and then we'll set the lids with some powder. To set my lids, I'm using my Beauty Bakerie Flower setting powder. I'm using the shade Plantain. It's kind of like a deep yellow color. Oops, I just spilled it everywhere, but I'm gonna put a little bit into the lid. Oh, that's a lot. Oh well. And then using the flat side of my sponge, just dip into this. Take off the excess because I don't want too much on my lids. And just set that concealer in place. For shadow, I'm probably going to use two palettes, but I'm going to start with my Pat McGrath Labs palette. This is the Mothership 7 Divine Rose. It's so pretty. It's such a pretty palette. I really just want to use this brown shade out of it, so I'm going to use that on my lids. And just picking up an eyeshadow brush, loading it up, blowing it off a little bit. And just put that color all over my lid because it's an everyday look. I want it to be kind of all matte and just a very soft eye look. So it's kind of going to be like a smoky brown just a little bit because it's getting a little dark on me. But we're going to blend it all the way out. You know, just doing circular motions to blend out those edges and make it really seamless. And then try not to get the color like all the way up to my brow. Now that I have that all over my eyelids, I want to lighten up just the lid part just a smidge. So I am going to use this Mented palette. This is the Every Night palette. So I'm going to open this up. I am going to use the shade Houston, which is a really like light beige color. And using the same brush, just dip into this and put it directly onto my lids just to lighten it up a little bit. And then I'm going to blend it out so it's not going to really be too toned. It's just going to look kind of just natural. And right now I'm not using circular motions, just tapping it onto the lid. There we go. It just lightened up the lids a little bit so my eyes weren't so dark. I did want this to be like an everyday like daytime kind of look. That's pretty much it for the eyes. I'm gonna do some mascara. I don't have a black owned mascara, so I'll do that off camera, as well as my lashes, and then I'll come back and we'll get into the face. Lashes are on, so now let's get into the face. For primer, I am going to use my Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin, blurring balm. I know you can use it all kinds of ways. I could probably just use this as a foundation too, but it's not quite my color. I'm using the shade number 8, so you can see it's kind of not my color, but shade number 7 is too light, shade number 9 is too dark. So I like to use this as a primer because it gives me a little bit more coverage underneath my foundation. And I'm just gonna use the bottom of my DSMD shop sponge and just go in and spread it all over my face. So like y'all can see that's kind of orange, but I like it. It really like smooths and blurs my skin really well. And it makes my foundation just look good. Hopefully she comes out with some more shades of this so that I can wear it as a foundation. Okay, I have it all over my skin, and now we can get into foundation. So for foundation, and she dirty y'all, but don't judge me, I'm using the Beauty Bakerie Insta Bake foundation in the shade 315. I'll just put a pump, maybe just one pump on the back of my hand, and it is not coming out. Oh, please. All right, cool. I have one pump on the back of my hand, and now just dot it all over my face where I feel like I need a little bit more coverage. And then we'll even it out with my brush. Right now I just have my brush, and I'm just gonna stipple it all over my face. I think with using that Danessa using that Danessa Myricks, I don't have to use as much foundation as I normally would with like a regular primer. So I did kind of use a little bit too much. It's cool. We're gonna even it out with my sponge. This Danessa got me looking orange, girl. We gonna fix it, don't you guys worry. Going back in with the side of my sponge this time, just to pick up some of that excess foundation that I put on, because I feel like I put on too much. I'm just gonna pick it up, and it'll sheer it out a lot more and even it out. Now back to my concealer using the Insta Bake. This one's closer to my skin tone, so I'm just gonna put it probably towards the center. And then in the inner corner of my eyes, I'm gonna use the Fenty Beauty 385. Just to give the center of my face just that brightening. And this, I'm like scraping the sides of it. It is almost out. I'm gonna let that dry down, and then also put on some down the center of my nose, a little bit on my chin, because I gotta even out this orangeness that I'm seeing all over my face. So I'm gonna go a little bit heavier with my concealer just to make the face look like more natural, hopefully. Also a little bit on the top of my lip. Before I blend out my concealer, I always like to spray some setting spray. So I'm using the Mented Better Setter setting spray, and just spray it all over my face. Let me do a test spray first. Yeah. Spray it all over my face, and then I'll blend out my concealer. This setting spray here, like, it sprays bubbles, so you can hear like the bubbles popping. It's so bizarre, but I like it. So now I'm gonna blend out starting at my chin, and then just work my way up, and then get my under eyes. That way my under eyes have the most time to kind of just dry down, and it's good for coverage. Right, blending out this forehead. Now the center of my face is blended. Now for my under eyes, I'm gonna start with that outer corner just so I can keep that lighter color at the center of my face. Now blend out the center and try to keep that lighter shade right where it is and not bring it all the way down my face. Back to my setting powder, the Flower Setting Powder by Beauty Bakerie. Just dip some and take it off. And set these under eyes because they crease like no other. All right, I'm not done with my under eyes just yet, but I want to get into my bronzer first. So for my bronzer, Beauty Bakerie again, I'm using the Beauty Bakerie Neapolitan bar. And I'm going to use this little bronzer shade out of here. I'll also probably use some of the blush because I wasn't planning to wear blush today. But since it's here, might as well use it. So now I'm just using an angled brush, dipping into that, and just placing my bronzer on my cheeks. And that also sets down my foundation that I put on there too. And get some on my forehead. Yeah, this is not gonna be no everyday look. This is gonna be like a everyday full coverage look because it's getting kind of beat. I am very full coverage right now. Maybe I can call it everyday glam. I'm gonna use another shadow brush and dip it into the bronzer just to get my nose. And just carve out that on the sides of my nose right here. And just blend it up into my eyeshadow. Now to even everything out, I'm still gonna go back with the side of my sponge and just go over everywhere now, just to make everything even, and also use whatever's left on this sponge to set the rest of my foundation that was down here. And just go all over my face. This will make my face look really like smooth and like even, and when I spray it with setting powder, it's just gonna look good. One last thing that I want to do is set my under eyes with a pressed setting powder. That just helps my under eyes to just stay in place all day. My concealer won't crease and go all crazy. So I am going to use my LYS Beauty Triple Fix Translucent Setting Powder. I'm using the shade Brilliance, which is a banana shade. Looks just like this. And using the flat side of my sponge again, just going into this palette and setting right here underneath my eyes. And it also just kind of adds a little bit of brightening as well and ensures my under eyes stay in place. Using my bronzer brush, going back into the palette using the pink shade, just dip it into that and just add a little color to the apples of my cheeks, just a little bit. So I like the brown tones of this face so far, so I don't really want to ruin it with too much pink. I just want a natural flush onto my cheeks. Okay, next up is my lips. So I was already prepping my lips with my Fenty Skin, what is this, Plush Put-In Lip Mask. So I have that on. I'm going to take that off and then we're going to put on some gloss. For lips, I'm going to use my Mented Bare Lip Pencil. This is the shade, what shade is this? I don't know, y'all. I think it's called Bear. I think that's the shade name, Bear. So it's the Mented Lip Pencil in the shade Bear. And I'm just going to outline my lips. It's such a pretty, like, natural brown. It pulls kind of red on my lips, which I like. Very soft brown. We're going to fill it in with some lip gloss. I'm using my Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb Heat. This is the shade, oh, Fenty Glow Heat. So this was like her original shade. And just fill in my lips. And blend my lip liner together with my gloss. My lips starting to heat up already. Back to the setting spray. It's the Mented Better Setter Setting Spray. Now I'll just spray it all over to set everything in place. I love setting spray, so I go in when I use setting spray. All right, y'all, so that is it for this look. This is not an everyday look, so we just gonna call this natural glam because, girl, this is so full coverage and like so glam, especially with the long lashes. I don't know. I really started with the intention of an everyday like makeup look, but this is very, very glam and I am loving it. So I'm gonna change the title of this video. So this is gonna be my natural glam video featuring all black owned brands. What do y'all think of this look? Do y'all have any of these products? Are there any products that I should try? Let me know down below in the comments. If y'all made it all the way to the end of this video, thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit those notification bells so you're notified every time I upload a new video. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.